The history of Japan dates back to prehistoric times, with the first human habitation occurring around 30,000 BC. The Jomon period, which lasted from around 14,000 BC to 300 BC, saw the development of pottery and agriculture, as well as the construction of elaborate burial mounds. In 300 BC, the Yayoi period began, during which rice cultivation and ironworking were introduced to Japan. The Kofun period, from around 300 to 710 AD, saw the emergence of powerful clans and the construction of large burial mounds. In 710, the first permanent capital was established in Nara, beginning the Nara period, during which Buddhism was introduced to Japan and a centralized government was established. The Heian period, 794-1185, saw the flourishing of Japanese culture, including literature, art, and architecture. In the late 12th century, the Kamakura period began, during which a military government, known as the shogunate, was established. The Muromachi period, 1336 to 1573, saw the rise of powerful samurai clans and the development of the tea ceremony and other forms of traditional Japanese culture. In 1603, the Edo period began, during which a strict social hierarchy was established and Japan was largely isolated from the rest of the world. However, in the mid-19th century, pressure from foreign powers led to the opening of Japan to trade and diplomacy, beginning the Meiji period. During the Meiji period, Japan underwent rapid modernization and industrialization, becoming a major world power by the early 20th century. However, Japan's militaristic ambitions led to its involvement in World War II, which ended with Japan's defeat and occupation by Allied forces. In the post-war period, Japan became a democratic nation and experienced rapid economic growth, becoming the world's second-largest economy by the 1980s. Today, Japan is a highly developed country with a rich cultural heritage and a thriving economy. The history of Japan stretches back thousands of years, with the first human habitation on the islands occurring as early as the Paleolithic era. The first recorded history of Japan dates back to the 1st century AD, when Chinese chronicles mention the country as Wa or Wa. Early Japanese history is characterized by the formation of small city-states ruled by local clans, with the Yamato clan emerging as the dominant power in the 3rd century AD. The Yamato period saw the development of a unique Japanese culture, including the Shinto religion and the adoption of Chinese writing and Confucianism. In the late 8th century, the capital was moved to Heiankyo, modern-day Kyoto, and the period of the same name saw the flourishing of Japanese art and literature, including the creation of the world's first novel, The Tale of Genji. During the medieval period, Japan was ruled by powerful samurai clans who fought for control of the country. The most famous of these was the Tokugawa shogunate, which brought a period of peace and stability known as the Edo period. In 1853, American Commodore Matthew Perry arrived in Japan and forced the country to open its doors to the outside world, ending centuries of isolationism. This led to the Meiji Restoration, in which Japan rapidly modernized and transformed into a major world power. Japan's expansionist policies in the early 20th century led to its involvement in World War II, culminating in the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki by the United States. After the war, Japan underwent a period of rebuilding and economic growth, becoming the world's second-largest economy by the 1980s. Today, Japan is a leading industrialized nation with a rich cultural heritage and a strong global influence in technology, entertainment, and popular culture. The history of Japan spans thousands of years, with its origins in ancient prehistoric times. The first human habitation in Japan is thought to have occurred around 30,000 BCE. Over time, various clans and tribes emerged in different parts of the archipelago, eventually forming a centralized state under the Yamato clan in the 4th century CE. During the Heian period, 794-1185, Japan experienced a cultural golden age, with the development of art, literature, and a highly refined court culture. However, the country was also beset by internal strife and regional wars, leading to the rise of powerful samurai clans. In the late 16th century, Japan was unified under the rule of Toyotomi Hideyoshi, but after his death, power shifted to the Tokugawa shogunate, which ruled the country for over 250 years, until the Meiji Restoration in 1868. During the Meiji period, 1868 to 1912, Japan underwent a rapid modernization and industrialization process, which allowed it to emerge as a major world power in the early 20th century. However, its militarist policies led to its involvement in World War II, which ended with its defeat and subsequent occupation by the Allied powers. After the war, Japan adopted a pacifist constitution and became an economic powerhouse, known for its advanced technology, manufacturing, and export-oriented economy. Today, Japan is a highly developed and prosperous country, with a unique culture that combines ancient traditions with modern influences. The history of Japan dates back thousands of years, with the earliest known human habitation on the Japanese archipelago dating to around 30,000 BCE. Over time, Japan developed its own unique culture and society, with influences from China, Korea, and other neighboring regions. Some of the major periods in Japanese history include Jomon period, 14,000 BCE, 300 BCE. This was a prehistoric period characterized by a hunter-gatherer society and unique pottery. Yayoi period, 300 BCE, 300 CE. This period saw the introduction of rice cultivation and iron tools, and marked the beginning of Japan's agricultural society. Kofun period, 300 CE, 710 CE. During this time, large burial mounds, kofun, were constructed, and the first states emerged. Asuka period, 710 CE, 794 CE. This period saw the introduction of Buddhism, the adoption of a centralized government system modeled after China, and the creation of the first written records in Japan. Heian period, 794 CE, 1185 CE. This was a golden age for Japanese art, literature, and culture, with the development of unique forms such as haiku and waka poetry. Kamakura period, 1185 CE, 1333 CE. This was a time of political turmoil and warfare, with the rise of the samurai class and the establishment of the first shogunate. Muromachi period, 1333 CE, 1573 CE. During this time, Japan experienced a period of relative peace and prosperity, and the arts flourished with the rise of tea ceremony and no theater. Edo period, 1603 CE, 1868 CE. This was a time of isolationist policies and the establishment of the Tokugawa shogunate, which brought about stability and economic growth, as well as the development of ukiyo-e art and kabuki theater. Meiji period, 1868 CE, 1912 CE. This was a time of modernization and westernization, with the opening up of Japan to the world and the adoption of new technologies and social structures. Showa period, 1926 CE, 1989 CE. This period saw Japan's rise as a world power, its participation in World War II, and its subsequent reconstruction and economic growth. Today, Japan is a highly developed country with a rich cultural heritage that continues to influence the world in various ways. The history of Japan stretches back thousands of years, with early human settlements dating back to the Paleolithic period. The country's recorded history begins with the rise of the Yamato clan in the 3rd century AD. During the following centuries, Japan developed a distinctive culture and society, with a feudal system of government and a ruling class of samurai warriors. In 1603, the Tokugawa shogunate took power and ushered in a period of relative stability and isolation from the rest of the world, known as the Edo period. In the late 19th century, Japan opened up to the world and underwent a period of rapid modernization and industrialization, culminating in its victory over Russia in the Russo-Japanese War in 1905. Japan's militarist government led the country into World War II, which ended with Japan's surrender after the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki by the United States. The country then underwent significant political and economic reforms under the guidance of the Allied powers. In the post-war period, Japan experienced a period of unprecedented economic growth and became one of the world's leading industrial powers. However, it also faced challenges such as an aging population, environmental degradation, and political scandals. Today, Japan is a constitutional monarchy with a parliamentary system of government and a highly developed economy. Its culture continues to be shaped by its rich history and traditions, as well as by its interactions with other countries around the world.
I-click ang notification bell, like, share and subscribe. Salamat sa panonood.